da 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 da, something like that. So he had done Punano, Punano Vayo, Punano Vayo, Puna. I said, why this Puna, Puna? And this Puna got stuck in my head.
And I started writing poetry in 1978, 79. And in 81, I wrote my first lyric. Dekha hai khwaab to ye silsile hue was my first song.
Mone cholo shahe jare, tomai dekhe aaju bole, mora hirai shohadare. It means nothing, but if it gives indication enough for the writer to write something nice, I have no problem.
Interesting discussions happened at the music workshop of IIFA Singapore 2012. Check it out.
We want to show you how music is created. A lot of people who are interested in music ask the question, what comes first? Do the lyric writers write the lyrics first? Or do the composers compose a tune and then the lyric writers write lyrics to it?
But I heard that poetry mostly is to be written earlier or something like that. I think a best song is when a listener can't actually make out what was done before. That is the best song. Shantanu and me had done this song, Sikhona. A lot of people think that that was written first, but it was composed first. Then I wrote to the tune. And Rang De Basanti, people think was composed first. This Chodi Si Dhool, that song. Now that I wrote first and Rahman composed it later. So there are both the things, both the cases, and I think a lyric writer has to be comfortable with both. And the same, I would say, is with music directors. I have gone through both experiences and I had a great time both ways.
You're absolutely right. Both experiences do occur in the studio. You never know what's going to come first. I mean, we're discussing the song, you're talking about it, somebody has an idea and it all sparks from there. It's that essentially what we're doing, trying to do on the stage here is bottle that moment of magic and try to analyze it, which really you can't do. I mean, it's something that does happen.
So let's demonstrate it to them.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you guys do? Do you actually write a little mukhda in your head? Something, Javani, Javani, I'm sexy?
Javani, Javani, no. But yes. What happens when the director gives us a brief, we kind of figure out what the hook line of the song would be. Means Vishal and I, we sit together, we jam on a composition. And somehow we try and get the main line of the song, like the main hook of the song. Maybe that might not be the final lyrics, but at least the direction is towards the situation. So what happens is generally the tune of the song, the structure of the song, the way the song gets into the main hook line, that is something which we kind of figure out what the lyrically, like Sheila Ki Jawani, the name of the film in the film was Sheila Ki Jawani. So when Farah came to us, she said there's the film Sheila Ki Jawani which the character is shooting for, the actress is shooting for that film. So we had the hook line immediately, so it was very easy for us to work on that hook line.
I'm just going to demonstrate why actually we didn't ask Shantanu to do that. Can someone give me that guitar?
One more thing is sometimes it's half and half. Huh? Sometimes it's just one line created and then you have written, like, I think we worked, Vishal Shekhar and I, we worked on Dhoop Ke Makaan, where you had the groove, but you don't have the rest of it. He said, why don't you finish it? So sometimes, one line is created and we build on it, and, it's also possible that half is created first in music.
I mean, the fluidity of the situation is the key to really making music, the way I see it. I mean, if there was a defined structure, if there was a defined method, it wouldn't be as much fun and we wouldn't kind of enjoy it as much as we all do.
You see, in our film industry, we have both the ways. I mean, songs are written and then they are composed and there is a composition. I mean, Vishal Shekhar are themselves lyric writers also. So often they write their own lyrics.
सबकी पेट पे लात मार रही है. Singer के पेट पे composer.
जी हाँ. कुछ करना पड़ेगा.
They acted on a film.
But I think generally when music directors compose a tune, what they offer to the lyricist is called dummy words. I mean, these words don't mean anything, but they have just put those words to define the tune. That's about all. I have worked with all these music directors and I mean, they are so talented that you give them a page from a telephone directory and they'll compose it. So that is not the problem. But generally, it has become a practice that more often than not, the tune is made first. And that is purely tune, without words. So you have to write a song for a situation to a tune. And selecting the tune, finalizing the tune, great lyricist of yesteryears, Mr. Kafi Azmi had defined it rather well, that it is like digging the grave and then looking for the corpse of that child.
Prasoon has something to say about Shantanu being a composer and composing to dummy lyrics.
Javed Saab, dummy lyrics, I think you had discovered something very nice. You used to put something which cannot be made into a song. I remember Rahman telling me that some Akbar and Humayun or those words you had put in some song that you can't even use that. So sometimes what happens to us is that when we put dummy words, कुछ दे दीजिए ना अभी जल्दी से, तो हम दे देते हैं. Or that sometimes they fall in love with it. We say no, it's not good, but but we like it, and it so often happens that you can't change it after that, and you're saying, God, why did I give these words? Now he's fallen in love with it. He's singing it every day. He's singing it to his wife. So you can't change it. Shantanu, whenever he gives me tunes, he has some strange phrases he uses. I remember there was a song called from an album called Apke Sawan, and that was da 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 da, something like that. So he had done Punano Vayo, Punano Vayo, Puna. Why this Puna? And this Puna got stuck in my head. Because he's putting. So I would want to ask him why he's in love with Puna.
I'm not in love with Puna. Actually, I'm not. These guys are really talented because they know what to say. I usually don't know what to say. And I don't want to put words primarily because I think it's their territory. So I have my own language. For example, Mone cholo shahe jare, tomai dekhe aju bole, mora hirai shohadare. It means nothing. But if it gives indication enough for the writer to write something nice, I have no problem.
For so many years, you wrote scripts, you wrote stories, you wrote scripts. You never did the lyrics of the songs of those films. Why was that? From 1971, Hathi Mere Sathi, down to, I think, 1984, Dunya was the first time you wrote lyrics, was it? No. Silsila. So why was that?
I started writing poetry at an age where generally people stop writing poetry. I was in my late 30s. I was born in a family of poets. My father, my uncle, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, his mother and father and her father, all of them were poets. I am the 7th generation, and when Zoya writes poetry, she's the 8th generation of poets. By the time I was 15, I remember thousands of couplets of other poets. I can recite other people's poetry for 7-8 hours even today. But I never wrote poetry. Perhaps because I knew what is good poetry, that intimidated me. Perhaps my father was there, so I thought as long as the father is sitting on the shop, I can loiter around. When he passed away, perhaps then I felt the need, the responsibility, or the courage to write poetry. And I started writing poetry in 1978-79. And in 81, I wrote my first lyric. Dekha hai khwaab to ye silsile hue was my first song.
Bollywood Hungama News Network.